Good morning and welcome to New Burlington United Methodist Church. My name is Ed Armantrout and I'm the pastor here, and we welcome you to the service this morning. Our scripture lesson today is from Luke. It's chapter 6, verses 27 through 38. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you, and from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. If you love those who love you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. And you will be the sons of the Most High, for He is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use it, will be measured back to you. So I called this the golden rule. This is the part of Scripture that we refer to as the golden rule. And so I want to give you a little explanation of just what kind of love we're talking about, and then how we can use the golden rule in today's world. So the first thing is, when they talk about this love of others, think of it more as a benevolence towards others. So no matter what somebody does to you, we always want the best thing in the whole entire world to happen to them. And that's not very easy. The Sermon for Kids video that I show sometimes, this week's is two older men. And the one guy sits down beside the other and he says to him, I don't know if you remember me, but my name is, and he tells him his name. He goes, oh, yeah. He said, we're the one, in high school we always called you Twinkle Toes. And he said, yeah. He said, I remember that. He said, I think that's because I would throw darts at your feet and make you dance. He goes, yeah, I remember that too. And he said, oh, you remember that time we were at the convocation and I pulled down your pants so everybody could see your underwear? He goes, yeah, I remember that too. And so after a few more things like that, he says, why did you look me up today? And he said, well, I've turned my life to God, and I want you to know that I've forgiven all those things that you did to me, even those, and they're older men, so it's been 40 or 50 years. And he said, I'm not going to worry about those things anymore. I'm not going to hold on to those things and have a grudge against you, because I always wanted somehow for things to work out to where people treated you poorly like you treated me. But he said, I'm just telling you, I've forgiven you and we're moving on. So those kind of things that happen to us, that people do to us, the golden rule would be that we're going to forgive them, and we're not going to hold a grudge, and we're not going to hold that against them, and we're not going to hope that something bad happens to them to make up for what they did to us. We always want the best for others. And it's not just that we want the best for others, we want to go out of our way to be kind to others. So it's one thing to tolerate people, but the goal here is that we're going to do our exceptionally best effort to make their world a better place. Now, I would tell you that this is not easy to do, and you probably can't do it on your own, but with the grace that God gives us each and every day, it is possible if we're willing to work. So there's three things that I think that we need to get from the golden rule. The first thing I would talk about is what I would call positive thought and actions. And the reason I call them positive is the idea here is that you're not just going to let stuff happen, you're going to go out of your way to make something happen. It's the idea of doing something to make whatever good thing's going to happen, to make a good thing not just accidentally happen, but for us to make it happen. The other thing is the extra thing. So when you go to a store and let's say you went to a grocery store. You expect to go there and be able to buy, if it's milk or eggs or whatever, and you're going to get them, you're going to pay for them, and everything's going to be great. Well, what I'd like for you to think about here in the golden rule, it's the extra thing. It's not just what you would expect, it's something special. And so I have an example of this. This is my Walt Disney World example. We're staying at the Disney Inn, which you can't stay at anymore. It was a really nice place. This was 20 years ago or so. And our kids were little then. Elisha was probably 4, and she's 35, so I guess it's been 30 years now. So we went back to the inn to sleep in the afternoon, and really we all needed a rest. And it came up a big thunderstorm. And it stormed and stormed for probably 2 hours. And now it's evening, and we want to go back to the Magic Kingdom so we can see the parade at night. And we're not very far from the Magic Kingdom, but we're going to catch a bus to go over there. So there's probably 40 of us out there waiting for the bus. And these 2 guys are talking. They said, boy, I'm glad that we're not trying to catch a tram in this thunderstorm to get back in to see the parade tonight. And they have like a host or guide or whatever they called her at the desk. And she said, well, you're lucky to be staying here. Now, it wasn't the most expensive Disney resort, but we were paying plenty as compared to if you stayed in a hotel. And that was all she said. You're just lucky you're staying here. And the guy says, why am I lucky to be staying here? She said, well, in case you didn't know, if it comes up like a thunderstorm like this, you can't ride a tram to your car from the park, so you're stuck in the park. And if you're in your car, they'll let you come and park, but you have to stay in your car because no trams can go out there because with all the lightning, it's not safe. But because you're staying here at the Disney Inn, whether you were coming from the park to here or whether you were trying to go from here back to the park, a bus will come and pick you up and take you there. So you're really, really lucky to be staying here. She didn't have to tell us that. None of us, anybody that was talking about anyway, knew that that's the way it worked. So she went out of her way to make us feel good about that situation. I think that's a good example of the golden rule. It's to do something that nobody expects. It's not the expected. It's not what you think's going to happen. It's that you go out of your way to make that situation better. So a lot of times we talk about, do unto our neighbors. So the goal here is not to just be as good to your neighbor as people are to you, but the goal would be you're going to treat them so much better than anybody's ever treated you. And that extra thing I don't think we do. We probably don't do as well as we should. And so why do we want to treat people better? Why shouldn't we just treat people the way they treat us? Well, it's for us, it's to be more like God. For all the things that happen in our world. And so on my way here today, I got to see a hawk flying around. The Prairie Creek's still frozen, but it's interesting to see the way the ice forms on it and the snow. The big hill by where the horses are, you can see where tons and tons of people have been riding a sled down it. And so although winter might not be my favorite time of year, there's just some things about winter that you don't get to see the rest of the year. This morning, I've got feed in the bird feeder, and apparently one of the birds got a little disoriented because he flew into our back patio window, apparently at a pretty high rate of speed, because I heard a thud, and then when I went out there, he's just sitting there on the back mat. And my wife said, well, should you go out there and shoo him away? And I said, I think we'll let him see how he's going to be. And then probably 30 minutes later, he was walking around a little bit, and at least he wasn't staggering, and then he flew away. Those kind of things you don't see in the summer. Birds, we don't have so many birds around that because we don't have the bird feeder out. They can eat on their own. But it allowed me to be probably within a couple feet of a bird that I was never going to be that close to any other time. And to see the intricacy of his wings and the feathers, how they worked. He did have a little bump on his head, but outside of that, everything was good. This whole idea of the golden rule is so it allows us to get a small feeling of what God does for us each and every day that we can share with mankind. So I hope you take advantage of this for not only this next week, but for the rest of your life. I haven't done this on this video, but I said sometimes for the congregation, I give them homework. And sometimes homework is something you're supposed to do in a short time, and sometimes homework is something you should do for the rest of your life. I would say the golden rule is homework you should do for the rest of your life. Treat people better than they could possibly ever treat you. And if we can all do that, and we make the world a better place incrementally, however much that is, we'll see an end to some of the violence and the harshness that people have towards one another. You're welcome at any time to come to New Burlington. Our services are at 10:45. If you have any prayer requests, you can either email me or call me. If there's anything that we could talk to you about, if you're looking for a church, or if you're unhappy where you're at, give us a call and we'll be happy to share what we do here at New Burlington.